Welcome to the Head Guy podcast. This podcast is sponsored by our favorite sponsors, the Mahaba, the number one destination guide here in Qatar. Pick up a book in any supermarket or go online to their website, and then you can find anything that you want to need, anything that you need to know with regards to Qatar. All its hotel destinations, shopping centres, sporting activities, events, etc., etc., hospitals, schools, you name it. Mahaba. So, we have a very special guest today. It's his first podcast. His name is Aldrin Menezes. Menezes?
That's right. Menezes.
Menezes.
Yeah.
What's the background with that surname? Is there?
It's a Portuguese connect. You have a segment in south of India, which is Goa and Mangalore, which was supposed to have been a Portuguese colony them days. And then if you go back about 400 years, I guess 300 years, where there were conversions, and that's where we got the names of our godfathers.
Yeah.
It was not, I would say, So that's how it's been. Yeah.
Have you ever done one of those DNA tests where it
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. That there's no DNA connect there.
Oh, there is no.
No. It was just the families were them years, converted, and then the godfathers were the Portuguese. So we got their surnames.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a how do you use the word? It's not a connect between a Portuguese and an Indian. It's more of a pedigree Indian, and then getting the Portuguese surnames to work up to. Yeah.
But have you ever done a DNA thing?
No.
Because if you're pure Indian, would that it might just show you the different areas of India that your family might have originated from?
I've not done a DNA. Maybe I should, but then one thing is for sure that we are all Indian blood. There's no connectivity with anything else being in India, I guess.
But you never know. Never say never. Because it was amazing. When I did mine, it was obvious because my mum's Swedish, my dad's English. But then it was interesting how they literally pull that DNA apart to show you the different areas of where you're from. So even though my mum was from Sweden, the bloodline was Norwegian, Finland, Denmark, all right, mainly Scandinavian, but there was a 1% in Eastern Europe somewhere. And then my dad, there was, even though I have a British passport, but my bloodline was Cornish, Welsh, Irish, and Scottish. So it was all the Celtic regions, but not actual England itself. So,
but with Europe, it's been a lot of mixes.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, unlike
India.
India.
But you never know.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If there was maybe with more and more people taking the DNA test, then they can actually pinpoint exactly where within India it might be different regions. So even though you might have a pure Indian bloodline, it would pinpoint.
Yeah.
Because India is a huge country.
Yeah. But we do know our surnames prior to conversion. Like, for example, my mother was from the Shenoy background. The surname was Shenoy earlier.
Right.
And my father was Kamath. So I'm talking about 300 years now.
Oh, wow.
And still we retain that. So one of my cousins, he's retained the name Shenoy. So he's Keith Shenoy, just retain that surname now. But then, surnames have changed, and over time,
So anyway, let's get down to business. Looking at your LinkedIn profile, we can start from today, or we can go back to where you first started. I would like to touch on today, really, because that's where it's all happening. It's Nuance Digital Marketing.
That's right.
Is the name of the company.
Yes.
You've been going for nearly 6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? How is digital marketing, how has it changed? And for you as a business, how have you seen the business progress with technology, etc., and how businesses embrace digital marketing?
Yeah,
There's a lot of questions in there, but
yeah, too many questions.
yeah,
But
well,
it's okay.
you go.
I'll split them up. I started Nuance Digital in 2016 and such with a partner from Canada. He was my ex-CEO in Dubai. So he kind of called me and said, let's do something. And that time I was the CEO for Prime Media, which was a Yellow Pages company, slowly moving into the digital domain. Yeah, so in 2016 is when I moved in. So from managing a complete organization to getting my hands dirty and getting back on the streets was an adventure. But it was fun because if you go back to my roots, I started selling on the streets. So it's selling Yellow Pages. Yellow Pages is it's in the blood. It's in the stream. So yeah, so that's how it's been. It's been fun. It's been adventurous. 2019, we were all okay because I'm also contracted with Uridu to do the Yellow Pages. So we do the print and online Yellow Pages as part of our business that takes care of some of our business, which is good. And thanks to Uridu for that. On the other hand, digital has been evolving, very dynamic, changes as part. But one thing I've seen in Qatar is that when I started in 2016-17, it was still on the lower side. People did not really accept and appreciate digital as much because it's a little more traditional as such. But now things have changed. Everyone is digital. Everyone wants to go digital. Everyone calls for digital marketing. Yeah.
But do you think why is that? Is that because of because of COVID we had to go digital because that's how we were only able to communicate and only able to meet people was online. So we kind of had to find out more about this digital platform.
I guess COVID changed everything. Matter of fact, the ones who had this resistance, even marketing managers who were resisting, had to embrace and accept the fact that digital was everything. There was no other way other than going digital, going online, using social media, using your website to ensure that you generate those leads. So yeah, COVID was the change maker, and surely after that life has changed for everyone.
Yeah, isn't it weird? Although, did you not feel, as you said, businesses were starting to move in that direction onto the digital platforms, and I know for a fact that there was like magazines were starting to go out of business because the advertising revenue wasn't, the amount that was spent in the past wasn't being spent leading up to 2019, 2020. So, they couldn't sustain the employees that they had. Obviously, their profit margins must have got reduced. So the owners basically said, look, we've got to close them up. But it always seemed like the newspapers were always still going strong, but the magazines, they seemed to drop off. So did you see that it was COVID that went?
No, I think magazines, it was not COVID. I think magazines before COVID also, the traditional media was kind of giving away magazines, because I was in the Yellow Pages, I was doing the traditional directory, and I'm still doing it, matter of fact. But the magazines before COVID itself were taken off because the user base was changing. People were online, people were on their mobile phones, and who has the time to go and open a magazine to read? In the reading habit has changed today. You can see children who read, not as many, unless it becomes a hobby for you to read today, or an interest is there, but everyone is online. Even the books are online. So people moved out from magazines. I don't think COVID did what it did,
right. Okay.
But it's prior to COVID. Even I'm talking about Qatar itself, because we had a couple of collaborators with us in the magazine field, and they couldn't sustain because people were going online. And it's so dynamic, right? So you can change things in a day. A magazine, you got to stay with a month, or a quarterly. It doesn't work as much. Yeah.
I'm just curious. Did you say that the directory is still going? What, being printed?
The directory is still going. It's more of a requirement today. I'm not saying it's being used as much.
But it's still being printed?
Yes, it is being printed.
Wow.
As a requirement, yes. Every year we print the directory and release it. But not like them days where people used to invest hundreds and thousands of dollars on the directories. That's changed. Not many do invest today. It's more of a basket of media that you have, so you need a channel that you need to be in there. It could be also for your branding, or if somebody is having a look at it, then yeah.
But so it's still being printed, but it's online as well.
It's online as well. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's called yellowpages.qa. It is online. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just lost my train of thought then. But I'm just curious with regards to the directory, because I came up with this idea in 2011 when I was first starting Ginger Camel, was to have a platform that was like a directory, but knowing how business is done over here, where it's very much face-to-face, it's very, very much about personal relationships, it's very about trust, etc., etc. I thought the medium of video would be needed or could be used to create a new form of directory where you actually could see the business owner for themselves giving like a 30-second presentation about their business. So you wouldn't have to do a cold call, you wouldn't have to take time meeting after meeting to get to know this person. You could actually have a look at this video where he's presenting his business and whether you could trust him or not.
Yeah.
And, there was a little bit of traction, but then people weren't really willing to invest their time, their money into something like that.
Right.
Do you see that changing, or are people more, the way people try and find about business, are they using the various platforms to get an overall look and feel about the business owner or the business itself?
Videos are important. Videos are huge today, but it depends on what kind of business you are into. The B2B, the user researches a lot before coming in, buying anything from you. A 30-second information will not give all the required information to the user, and the range of a B2B business is huge, right? So if you are able to provide to him a link or some information that will cater to what he requires, then the next step would be for him to connect with you. And how does he do that is going to Google to check information. So the segments are different. If it's business to business, then Google is the place that people go for. Once he reaches out there, if he wants to click on your video, fine. He clicks on video and gets information, or he reads the information, or he calls you. Either way, it's got to have a call to action, right? So what we do in our business is we ensure that we give a call to action in any kind of media that he sees, more like an omni-channel kind of marketing, so that you are there, in wherever he's looking for you. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's funny. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying how, even like this interview, that businesses don't see the opportunity where, they might have been on a podcast, they might have been on a video interview, etc., etc., where they could use that for their benefit with regards to if they were trying to approach a new company or trying to get in with a potential client, is that they could use the link of this video and say, hey, here's something about me. This is the latest podcast that I was on, and you could actually cut it up in regards to certain key information that you give about your business or about yourself to let that person get more of an insight into who you are. Yeah. Because a lot of the time before you meet that person, you go on LinkedIn, and generally you get a picture, you get a short description, you see their history, etc., but you don't get to see the real person themselves.
Right.
And something like this is an opportunity for someone to, showcase who they are.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
No, I know you agree because you're on the podcast. With digital marketing, how important is it to have a local team here or having an international team wherever? Has that changed as well? Because I feel before COVID, there was an emphasis on, how many people have you got in the office? How many people are here on the ground? but then after COVID, it was kind of accepted that everyone, couldn't be in the office. So people were freelancing, people were working from home. And then home didn't matter whether it was local or whether it was international. Has that changed?
It has changed, but it's also created a kind of experience for the end user. Working directly with somebody remote is a challenge. Not because I have a set team here, I'm saying that, but it is a challenge because the most of my clients whom I meet with have gone through the experience. They say, I'd like to come and see your office. And that's because they have been through a bad experience. So doesn't mean all will go through that. It's there, working from home is there to stay. Working remote is there to stay. But then having a local experience makes a lot of difference. We have a team here. I've got the whole structured team here. Plus I have a team back in another country too. So from here, I can manage everything that a client requires, be it digital media, be it social media, be it content writing. The team is based out here. And anything more, then we have an office, and it's my office, matter of fact, out there. So a small office in Dubai too. So yeah, we've been able to manage, and I totally agree with you that we need to have a team based here. At least the basic face of the company should be here. Costs take a toll because I, being a businessman, I want the best for the least that I pay. So the challenge here is, how do I get the best out of me if I'm not paid well, right? So I saw one of your podcasts about being creative, and the creative needs time. You need to be paid by the hours, right? So so that becomes a challenge. But we work both ways. So for me, I have two kinds of clients. I have the small ones, small businesses that I have, and the large clients too. And we just work with how they need to be worked across. But then as long as we meet our costs and our business is taken care of, then I'm sure. But then to answer your question about how does remote working work, yes, it does. That's there to stay. You see Fiverr, you see Upwork, you see so many others that are there. And they are all making their monies. But end of the day, if you want the right job and you want consistency, you want local flavor, you want local response, then look for a business that has got, who's got a foundation here with the team in locally. Yeah.
But I was thinking, while you were talking, you take the headache out of the client finding a company to work with. Okay, so you are the local contact,
right?
Then you have the headache. All right, you've got a local office, but I know other companies that don't. So they find the resources remotely. So that's your headache.
That's right.
It's up to the supplier who's selling the service to basically find the right talent for the project in hand. So my question is, does it really matter for the client whether, you've got a team here, as long as you're there and that they've got someone to grab hold of, to communicate with, and then you've got the headache behind you, sort of thing?
Yeah. See, the trust and credibility works with a setup in the country that you are in. And this is by experience. Many of my clients, they trust me not because of me alone, but because the team that is based here. We have an office, we have an address, and we are an entity, a legal entity in this place. So, and then you need also a team with you here to manage client expectations. Everything cannot be done remotely. There are some things that you require immediately. Again, back to your podcast, people been asking, I need it in a couple of hours. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes timings change. If you have a team back in India, they're 2.5 hours ahead of you. If you are off on a Friday, they are off on a Sunday. These challenges are there. So you need to have a team. So I said, I do have a team back in India. I do have a team here, a full-fledged team, matter of fact. So that is cost to me, and that takes care of the business. Yeah.
I'm just curious, with digital marketing, do you get the response from the client that they expect you to be working 24/7? Because social media, digital marketing is 24/7. It's on all the time. So do you get clients that find it hard to accept that, you're a normal business from, 9 to 5 or whatever hours you work?
I work 24/7. So
well, I know you do. I know you do.
But then 9 to 5.
But when you say 24/7, do you reply to messages that are outside of the working hour?
I do. Yeah, I do. I do because it's required today. The timings are office timings, which is 9 to 5. That does not mean you take away from your personal life as such. But then these are client requirements. They're not major ones. They can wait, and they can wait. If there's something that's required immediately, I've got calls at 10 p.m. in the evenings, so sometimes, and that had to be done. Sometimes, you're live at any given time. In a magazine, like we said, you can't change anything. But on social media, you can change things. You can do what you want to. So that way, if there's a requirement, then yeah, we are available. Yeah.
Wow. And is it hard sometimes with regards to the working hours, because there is during the summer it gets very hot during the day? Is there and people's habits change, so more socialness happens during the evening, Ramadan as well, all the social interaction happens in the evening, at night. Do you adapt to that, or with your company, or is it just yourself that you kind of train yourself to be ready for those times?
No, work-wise, we work 8:30 to 5:30. That's our office timing. People, not because they're supposed to, because they love the job. They love to work with us, and that's where they are ready to do certain things that's required. That does not mean that we get them to do what they're supposed to do. Coming to Ramadan, we plan the whole thing in advance, during the day. So evening social times, when these posts need to go, the ads need to go, that's again scheduled in advance. We have those tools that manage things. The tools also tell us as to when are these people ready to read what you say or push, and based on that we schedule it. So these tools help us to do what we do. So they take care of our brunt, So yeah.
You mentioned about being a business owner. How was that transition from just managing a company to then setting up your own company? And what was your experience?
Being a CEO of a company was as much as it was my own company in a way, although it was not mine. I was salaried to work. There is for sure a difference. This becomes mine, and so your efforts and your emotional quotient to things here change. You work differently because it's your own. Not that you did anything different earlier, but then for sure there is a lot of hard work and going into this business, because it's not time bound. It's your future, So that way. Yeah, there's much of hard work to ensure that the business succeeds. We've been now 5 years, going six to 7 now, and we're okay. We've been doing quite well for ourselves, managing the clients that we have. We have some very good clients with us, yeah.
But what is it like with regards to, have you seen changes? You're in the digital marketing field.
Right.
Have you seen changes in the way your business is, from when you set up initially to where we are now? Do you see processes, official business getting easier for businesses, when it comes to renewal, when it comes to tenders? Have you seen things change?
Renewal, you mean
CR, copy?
I guess that we have an agency that does that for us. So we have not personally gone into it.
Right.
The agency takes care of everything, and it's been very smooth. We have not had any issues with renewals, or we pay our license fees, everything in time. We are reminded 1 month in advance. So all our documentation is perfectly placed. So we have not had, absolutely, in the last 5 years, not had an issue at all.
But what about when you're applying for jobs or tenders, etc., has that process changed over the years?
It's online now. Many people want us to apply online. The documentation that they ask for sometimes is a little tedious, but if we need this, we need to be part of the tender, then we need to go through the process. So that's been there. The tender, we have kind of worked on some tenders, not many as such. But then the process has not been difficult. No, it's just been applying for those tenders as per the regulations, and they are asking. That's how we move forward. Yeah.
And looking at your LinkedIn, you come from a sales background. Have you seen things change in the MENA region, the way you do business? With the digital applications, etc., etc. Right. How has that changed your kind of sales process?
Yeah, COVID has changed things. Today, you can get online and talk to people on Google Meet or on Zoom or on Teams. It's saved your time. That's one basically a good thing. Second is that people do understand digital marketing. They understand social media. They know what it is. The only challenge is it's kind of being treated like a commodity now. I get calls and asking I want to do social media, and what's your package? What's the price of your package? And then I need to tell them that, I need to understand who your audience is. I need to understand what kind of business you are. It's better that we meet. And then I can talk to you about packages as such. We don't have something called a package, but then if you require, we can work around the solution and create a package for you. So that's how we would like to talk. But then the market is such that there are many who have created packages. So you also need to have some packages when people ask you. Yeah. But then what I've seen is people who call up and ask for packages are not the ones who really, they've been calling many and asking for packages, and it doesn't really work that way. People whom we have met, spoken to, spent some time, understood what their business is, understood their needs, and if we are able to really offer them the solution to their needs, I think that has been a win-win situation for both of us.
Well, that opens up to my next question in a nice way, is that between the two kind of clients, do you see a difference? The one that just is looking for a package, doesn't really care, just give me that package, they buy into it, and is that relationship a deep, meaningful relationship that goes on for months or years? Or is it the client that takes the time to really, where they meet you personally, you go into their pain points, etc., and then you give them what they actually want?
We have a couple of clients who called us for packages, but then we went in, moved in, had us, chat with them. When someone asks for a package, we do provide after a conversation, and if they're insisting on a package, then yes, we do provide. And if they do call us back, then we go and then go through the whole process of understanding. We call that a discovery meeting. So we sit down and really understand what their requirements are. And then maybe the package will take care of that, and maybe they would have to kind of invest a little more in order to get the required value to their whole marketing plan. Yeah.
But when you're looking at, all right, digital marketing, I won't go into your what your competition is, but does the client, are they asking the right questions? Are they really looking at the end goal of increasing their sales, or are they kind of, what's the word, just amazed or just mesmerized by numbers? It's a numbers game. Social media, I've got that company's got thousands and thousands of followers, I want the same. And they're not really thinking about the end goal, which is, well, it doesn't matter about the numbers, it's about sales, converting those numbers into sales. Do they really know what?
You kind of said it right. I have a client whom we are working with on social media, and the followers are not many. It's B2B. And the question that the client always asks me is, where are my followers? Where are these followers? It's...
But how do you deal with that? Because I always tell people is look, if I was a business and I invited 200 people to a conference room, and I had 200 people turn up and they were hanging off every word that I said, I would have said that's a result, and that's just 200. But companies and people are looking at, no, I want thousands, I want millions, and it's just like,
yeah.
But you would be happy if 200 people turned up to a conference room and were listening to you word for word.
Yeah. So, see, if you look at social media as such, or look at a business, what are the two things that any business wants? One is to increase awareness about their business, which is more like a branding awareness or the company awareness, and the other one is to generate leads. These are the two things.
Yeah.
So if those are the end results, then whatever comes across to generate those leads is what me as an agency will do. But what businesses do not understand is the time that it takes. Nothing happens. It's not a magic wand. If I have not been doing any digital marketing from the last 5 or 10 years, when my competition has been doing that, I cannot just jump in tomorrow and compete with them. It takes time, and we've seen success stories of with our clients, who have invested with us, taken that time, but ensured that they are doing what they do, and they've been very successful with us, and they've been with us for 3 years, 4 years now, which is a great story. Because if you look at social media, not many clients stay with you for 6 months or a year, because the expectations are very, very high. So what we do is we work together, and our objective is to generate leads at the end of the day. And for a businessman, when I invest money, I need returns.
Absolutely.
And everything else is frills, bells and whistles.
Absolutely.
I need money at the end of the day, and if I can prove that, then that's fine. And that's a challenge. Not everyone is happy with the things. It is like, but it takes time. It takes time for all the business people out there. They need to understand that it takes time, and time will tell. Yeah.
But how? All right. You said brand awareness.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about social media, and if a potential client is looking for numbers,
Mm-hmm.
but do they understand that, okay, where they're doing business? So if they're only doing business here in Qatar, then there's only a demographic that of a certain amount of people. All right, if they're doing it international, then yes, there is potentially, you can talk about thousands, millions, etc., etc. Do they understand that? And my second question is, what about, okay, you tell the client about it takes time, but what about all your competition that will go in and just say, yeah, just be a yes company and just go, yeah, we can increase your numbers, we can do this, we can do that, they promise everything.
Yeah, and we let go of that client, and he'll come back to us later. So social media, answering your questions about followers as such, there are different kinds of businesses. If you're a restaurant business, if you're a fashion, if you're a B2C, you can get those followers, and you need followers. But from the B2B perspective, it's more of a profile, I would say. There could be somebody who might say no to me, but it's more of a profile. You need followers for sure, because everybody looks at followers, but it's more of a profile. For example, if I'm on Google and I find you and I want to know more about you, then what I do next is go to your social media page and see what all you've been doing. So with our clients, what we do is, from the B2B perspective, we add a lot of products that they do. We give tips on information, educate people on what those products are. So that's how it works.
But yeah. do they have systems in place that, once you start doing that sort of thing on social media, will they see a return on their investment, or do they look to you to show them stats? What kind of stats are you showing them? Because as we said, brand awareness, yes, that's all about the numbers, but how do you kind of show their return on investment by what you're doing? How do you...
Right. So social media, in social media, there's two things. One is social media management, and the other one is campaigns and promotions. So they need to work parallelly. You cannot just do management and use viral to engage with people and get through to you, because at the end of the day, the social media platforms need to make their money. If that was the case, then everyone would be engaging and going viral and trying to make all that. That works. I'm not saying no, but then you need to spend money on promotions. And when you promote, then social media platforms themselves give you the number of clicks that came in, the number of calls that came in. We can connect you directly to the phone number. I get calls, I can get a DM, I can get a message from the client. So it all works that way. So there is a methodology to the whole thing. There is a way that I know as a businessman that I've got so many clicks. I've got so many leads. I have a client who's into cleaning services, and he gets about 45 to 50 leads every month, asking for hours, and he's been with us for 3 years now. So, and that's social media I'm talking about, promotions that are getting them results. Other than the search engine optimization we do, getting him on page 1 of Google to get those leads. So, like I said, it's not only social media, it's not only search. You need to be in almost every channel that you can. Invest in all those channels, because today you cannot run away from the reality, and that is digital marketing. Yeah.
And it's interesting you say the different channels. Are there other channels popping up that you see? How do you keep up to date with all the new channels that pop up, and the trends, and where to push your client depending on the type of messaging that they want to put out there, and the audience? How do you keep up to date with all that?
See, in marketing you have you do segmenting, and you do targeting, and you do positioning. So these are the 3 basic principles of anything that you do. So when you segment a requirement of a client, and then you work on the demographics, you know whom you're going to reach, then you know exactly, do you want to reach the nationalities, do you want to reach the cultures, do you want to reach whom and how? And then you target that specific niche that you want to target, and then you position what the client wants to position.
Yeah, but how do you find those niches? How do you know?
Social media itself gives you certain variables that you can look at to find the niche, but there is a skill to it. Now, social media doesn't tell you what nationalities, right? It doesn't tell you you cannot target by nationality.
You can't.
You cannot, right? Okay. So how do we do that? So there are ways to do that. Like me as a social media, the team works on that. They find out interest, they find out behavior patterns, they look at different case studies and do some research in order to reach out to those people. And then if that works out for us, then we know that we have found a niche campaign that has helped us, and we can use that and replicate that for many others. And
so do you review each client that you've had, or each campaign, etc., etc.? Do you review the figures on what you did, what you didn't do, where you could learn from, etc., etc.?
Absolutely, because a campaign doesn't mean that we start something and then we just let it go. It's tweaked as we go. As an example, last week I had a client who called me and said, Aldrin, we need to also look at another niche. So we went back there, we started working on that, and then we found out that it was not working with a particular platform. Then we had to move that to another platform. So these are things that we do. So our campaign management fee that we always have is not just that we place those ads out there and then let go off, but there's a lot of tweaking that goes on, a lot of research that goes on in between through the time. There's a resource managing these things, spending hours in order to ensure that it reaches the right client. And then we sit down with the client once the whole thing is run. There's a report. Right, and then the report runs with the client, and we show this is what you invested, this is what you got, because we're very, very transparent. The investment that goes for promotions is the client knows this is the amount, and there's a report for it, and the management fee goes separate. So we spend time with the client, they understand the whole thing, what went right, what went wrong, and then based on that we move forward. Yeah.
Very nice. So how do you stand out from your competition? Because there are a ton of digital agencies. How do you, get your voice out there in a way? How do you make sure that you're in the front of the queue?
Okay. First thing is that I am ranked very high on Google. I'm 1 to 3 if you look at digital marketing in Qatar. If you do SEO companies or search engine marketing or things like that, I'm number 1, almost number 1. The first 2 are international directories that are there, and that's me after that. Helped me a lot. And I invest on time and effort to retain myself there from the personal marketing perspective, and trying to be available when people look for me. We were quite a little weak on the social media front because we were more focused on optimization directories and getting ranking Google. Now we got plunged into the social media, so you can get to see some of our posts coming in these days, and it's doing well for us. That's from the marketing perspective that we do basically. And how do I keep in touch with the competition or show myself? What's my USP? I think it's service. And my connect with the clients. We become friends. We really work together as a team. There's a lot of emotional connect also in the whole thing. It's not just business. So we just connect with people. So that's something that they understand. Their pain points are understood. So that way, and the service is good. I think that keeps us away. And one more thing is that when I work with all kinds of clients, small businesses and large businesses. I have a mix of all. So that helps me in my business too. So yeah, I do not know much of the competition. I really don't go and seek for them or look for them, because I'm kind of happy in my space, and I've got those clients which I can manage, and I don't do more than what I can do, so that my clients are happy with what I do. So yeah, it's all going well. Yeah.
Very good, Aldrin. I'm just curious, how do you keep a work-life balance, like they say? How do you look after yourself physically, mentally fit?
You know that's a $1 million question. That's the difficult part. It has been a difficult part. The work life has taken over everything else because of the kind of business that we are into. We are into a business which needs a lot of work. I think I need to get disciplined there, and that would be my 2024 plan, I guess. 23 is not going to happen.
Hold on, I thought that was 23 plan. Okay, so it's 24 plan now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to get anything out from him. All right, well, I think I've covered everything, Aldrin. Is there anything else that you want to tell us? I think,
Stefan,
how does it look for the future? Oh no, that's something that I really want to ask is AI.
Right.
It's on everyone's.
That's trending now. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's on everyone's end of everyone's tongue, sort of thing. So, how is that going to change your? All right, is that going to change your business? Is there going to be an AI that does everything for companies where they can say, okay, I just need this here, there, and there will be an AI, and they go, yep, can do that for you, blah blah blah, or you're not worried, or
you can never say with the AI what's going to happen, because AI is going to control things in the future. It's doing it now. Things have changed the way media is working today. The graphics guys, the content writers are embracing AI, and if you don't embrace AI now, then it's foolish. We need to. So as a team, we are working hard on embracing AI. We have all added tools in our the way we work. At the end of the day, whatever AI does, you need a human touch to the whole thing.
Absolutely.
The content and the information. So you need the expertise. End of the day, my son is into UI UX design, and he completed his course. And now I just spoke to him and I told him, AI, and he knows about it. So how would we embrace AI and ensure that you take the best out of everything that's available to you, and then tweak it to ensure that you have the clients. But the clients don't have the time for it.
No.
You see, at the end of the day, it's my niche, right? I'm into a particular business, and I don't want to get to see what AI can do for me. But then if you have an agency like Nuance, then it knows what the AI can do for them. So use that and then go back to the client and offer what best digital marketing and AI can offer. That's the best
No,
way
you're right.
forward.
Every business is
That's
involved
right.
in their
Absolutely.
own business.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they've come to you because they need that.
That's right.
And they wouldn't go to an AI and, because they wouldn't know what kind of AI would serve them.
Right.
And that's what we've done. We were even open to the client when they were looking for something, and we said, okay, human 1, human 2, AI, so they can get a comparison just to see what because we gave all the humans and the AI the relevant information, and this is what they came back with. So you can choose whether you want to. Do you like the human 1 idea or human 2 idea, or do you like what AI came up with? And actually, they came back with no. We like what human 2 went with. So
okay,
I like it. I like I've embraced it. I love working with I work a lot with Chat GPT, and that's helped me. I put in the narrative. Right. And then I basically ask, look, this is the kind of audience that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like, no, it's not right. So I have to tweak it.
That's right.
But you work with it.
Yeah.
And I like working with it.
I agree. So it all depends on the prompts that you do. And then And that's a big business today. AI is how training on AI and how to use the AI is another business.
Absolutely.
So, the future is AI anyway. So
absolutely.
You got to embrace it.
So next time we talk, we might be two AI.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, you'll be too busy. You'll say, "Sorry, Stefan, but I'll send you my robot or something."
My
like
avatar.
That. Avatar, absolutely. I look forward to meeting your avatar.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. So thank you, Aldrin. It's been a pleasure, and all the best for this year and next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
you, guys. Bye. Catch up with you next week. And just a big shout out for our sponsor, which is the Mahaba Guide, the #1 destination guide here in Qatar. Check it out. Buy in any local supermarket or online. Take care. Have a good week. Bye-bye.